Remember Go Giga Gaga Gigo?
Yeah, I do.
I think that's a great note to say. Welcome to Undercooked Analysis. Everything in the dregs that came before, sure, but there's Go Giga Gaga Gigo with no context.
Yeah.
You need dregs for that.
Folks, remember Go Giga Gaga Gigo.
And never forget Go Giga Gaga Gigo.
Just an incredible shit post.
It's been years since I've thought of it, and yet all of a sudden there he is.
It's going to be there.
He's rent free in my head. So we are gathered here tonight, me and my very good friend and confidant and cohort and ride or die associate Alan Cheney, because despite the fact that we have both had some interesting shenanigans, and you can hear all about them in the dregs, which will be out a week from now, a week from this releasing, I think we have a task ahead of us. And I asked Alan very nicely if he would be willing to do another episode of Poe Standards. And normally there'd be a bit here.
There's more than a bit. There is controversy. The rankings have been updated.
Oh no.
The Edgar Allan Poe short stories tier list we've been going off of was last updated April 2nd, 2025.
I'm bracing myself.
And one story has dropped to F tier, and a story we previously read has been raised to D tier.
Can I take a guess?
Go for it.
Is it King Pest?
Yes, it is King Pest. King Pest
Good.
Has been raised to D tier. Imp of the Perverse remains in F tier.
Okay.
And I won't get into what story it is, but when we started this show, there were 4 stories in F tier. There's still 4 stories in F tier, but there's 3 of them we have not read yet.
Well, that just expanded the series.
Yeah. We just got renewed for another episode.
Hey, that's great. Now I'm deeply curious. I'm still want to know which one you would have pitched tonight. Is it the new one or is it?
It's. I'm literally just going by what's next on the list.
Okay, that's fair. I will never know now. I feel bad because I realize we did have the bit going, but you know what? That was good for 2 episodes. I don't need to be
solid 2 episode bit.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid 2 episode bit. But I'm done. I mean, future Maureen can still put the crackling fireplace and the Baroque music in the background if she feels so inclined while we're doing this. But it's also very late for both of us. And while we ponder weak and weary what to read next, I just want to get right into it. So, Alan,
I guess I'd have to tell you what the story is and send you a link or something for that.
You kind of do have to do that. Yeah, that's the main thing. I'm sitting here.
I was just going to listen to you just fucking Broadway there for a few more moments before I did it.
You know, that's very kind of you to just let me keep showboating and digging myself deeper and deeper into the ground.
Anyway, here's just that.
Well, it's got a cryptic title. It's just called Silence. So this is oh God, it's a fable. Okay, this should be interesting. We've done an essay, and we've done a tale containing an allegory. Now we're doing a fable, huh?
I want to go back to the fact that Imp of the Perverse remained in F, but King Pest got raised to D.
Yeah,
I genuinely enjoyed Imp of the Perverse.
I did too, but
and King Pest shit itself at the very end.
It did. At least Imp of the well, okay. I enjoyed reading King Pest more. Like, on a whole. Don't get me wrong, Imp of the Perverse, not a bad story, but which one did I have more fun reading? That's like best of the worst rules, but like...
Yeah, I guess, but like...
That's just me. Maybe that's just me.
At that point, why aren't we just reading fucking Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction on this show?
You know, we did one time.
It's true.
It was a long time ago. Well, by we, I mean me, Kayla, and Random Encounters. And it didn't go well. I don't know. I have thoughts. I mean, it's still an episode I really enjoy. You can go back in the archives and find it. That's another topic, though. But anyway. It is weird, though, that King Pest rose up a rank and the Emperor the Perverse did. We still don't know who's running this list, right?
No, we don't. It is literally, I Googled Edgar Allan Poe short stories tier list and went with the first result that came up.
Excellent.
Hold on. I just noticed something hilarious. So if you scroll down, you can see on the Tier Maker website, you can see other people who have taken this framework and like made their own tier list. Mm-hmm. And they've given them several titles. And one person took the time to complete their own rankings of the famous Edgar Allan Poe short stories, and is entitled, this is more of a guess ranking, actually.
Cool. So just whatever now.
Just whatever. Mouse
to the red criteria.
That sounds cool, I guess. S tier.
Wow, this story is like, this is like judging books by their covers, but it's literally judging everything by its title. This is a vibes list now. This is just a vibes list. Oh my god. I'm tickled.
I'm going to start doing tier lists like that.
You know what? That's a great idea. That just sounds like everybody on the internet with an opinion in general. So that, just vibes. I don't have to have read everything.
Here's my favorite Metallica albums ranked by alphabetically. That doesn't do anything.
Here's my ranking of the complete works of Jane Austen by how many words are in the title. Alan, was this one on the list before?
Okay, no, I think this is new to the list. I think this is the new one to the list.
Interesting. So this is Edgar. According to this was published in 1838. If we're keeping track of when stuff was published. Let's see how our boy Edgar does this time.
I'd also like to point out that this means that whoever made this list thought about it, probably reread some stuff and was just like, I feel like maybe King Pest didn't give a fair shake. Like, who is this guy?
I gotta wonder too. I mean, it's not like maybe I'm being a little generous to us, but it's happened before. It's happened before with our show, Alan. Could the rando who wrote this have listened to this and been, maybe I was too harsh on King Pest? But I still hold my opinion about the Emperor the Perverse.
We'll only know for sure if we come back to their list of Edgar Allan Poe stories and somehow Shaquille O'Neal is
yeah. Silence of Fable by Shaquille O'Neal.
Wait, hold on. Oh, fuck, we did it again. Oh, oops. Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Sometimes you gotta wonder if we're the reason the prevalence of Shaq memes in the world.
It was fine. It was fine when it was the unofficial happy. Don't do it to Edgar Allan Poe. Did we ever talk about that on the show? The fact that someone did some kind of I think tier list ranking or creepypasta iceberg video, and in it they mentioned the fact
that one.
Yeah, they mentioned the fact that there's two versions of the story, and someone added Shaquille O'Neal into it, and I was listening to that and I was like, "Oops, yep, we're sort of responsible for that."
Alan, is it sad that that's one of our biggest contributions to creepypasta meme pop culture?
I'll have a few drinks about it, sure.
Sure, yeah. We're still here. This is what happens when you do this shit for over a decade. I want to read the story now. Can we read the story now?
Fine.
Yeah, I know. It's short.
It is a
That's
short
nice.
one.
Yeah. All right. This is Silence of Fable. Ours is a world of words. Quiet we call silence, which is the merest word of all. That's a quoted from Al Araf.
Man walks down the street, says, "Why am I soft in the middle now? We're just doing Call Me Al now." No, listen to me. I have been called Al on very few occasions in my life, and every time it feels incorrect. Nope, I'm Alan. Nope, I am not an Al.
Have I ever called you Al?
If you did, I'd have called you Betty.
That's fair. It's kind of like I don't want people to call me Dave.
Yeah. And it's funny because Dave is like my go-to like made-up person name when I'm telling jokes.
That's fine.
But it's never you in my head because you're not Dave.
Thank you. No, I am David. You are Alan. This is the way it stays.
"Listen to me," said the demon as he placed his hand upon my head. "There is a spot upon this accursed earth which thou hast never yet beheld, and if by any chance thou hast beheld it, it must have been in one of those vigorous dreams which come like the simoon upon the brain of the sleeper who hath lain down to sleep among the forbidden sunbeams. Among the sunbeams, I say, which slide from off the solemn columns."
Damn, Edgar. I like that. I used to play bass for solemn columns.
Solid. Of the melancholy temples in the wilderness.
Melancholy temples, I also used to play bass for.
These all sound like the Sword lyrics. The region of which I speak is a dreary region in Libya, by the borders of the river Zaire, and there is no quiet there, nor silence.
I like that we are immediately just being accosted by a demon, and there's no.
Yeah.
I love that we were just dropped into this.
Immediately we meet a demon who gives us head pats.
What a kind demon. By the way, I love that they once again have certain words here, just in case you need to click on them. But I already knew this one. A simoon is like a desert storm. Let's see if that's right. A hot, dry, dust-laden wind blowing in the desert. Okay, yeah, that's right. The waters of the river have a saffron and sickly hue, and they flow not onwards to the sea, but palpitate forever and forever beneath the red eye of the sun with a tumultuous and convulsive motion. For many miles on either side of the river's oozy bed is a pale desert of gigantic water lilies. They sigh one unto the other in that solitude, and stretch towards the heaven their long ghastly necks, and nod to and fro their everlasting heads. And there is an indistinct murmur which cometh out from among them like the rushing of subterranean water, and they sigh one unto the other. Okay, I kind of like this. This is cool. Like, painting a picture for me. It's a little bit eldritch. It's a little bit surreal, and I like it.
Yeah. So far, so nothing objectionable so far.
Good on you so far, Edgar. Let's see how it goes.
I will warn Edgar, since I know he's listening. There is a possibility of climbing inside of your own ass if you keep this up too long.
We've seen it plenty of times, but for the most part, it hasn't really happened.
Yeah,
with Edgar.
But there is a boundary to their realm. Not escaping the Sword lyrics accusations.
Nope.
She wore a cloak of feathers and rode a mare of purest white.
Can we get this whole thing sung to us, or different parts of this sung to us?
Would be pretty great.
Yeah.
But there is a boundary to their realm. The boundary of the dark, horrible, lofty forest. There, like the waves about the... Yep.
Hebrides. Those, they're very lonely Scottish islands.
The low underwood is agitated continually, but there is no wind throughout the heaven. And the tall, primeval trees rock eternally hither and thither, with a crashing and mighty sound. And from their high summits, one by one, drop everlasting dews. and at the roots strange poisonous flowers lie writhing in perturbed slumber. And overhead, with a rustling and loud noise, the gray clouds rush westwardly forever until they roll, a cataract, over the fiery wall of the horizon. But there is no wind throughout the heaven. In the shores of the river Zaire, there is neither quiet nor silence. I'm just imagining a dude sitting there looking up at a demon, patting him on the head, saying all of this at him.
Boop, 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 boop,
Uh-huh.
boop. Still really digging the language here, though. Like, these are, what this feels like is you're watching, those videos that are like time lapse, so they go really fast. You see like clouds rolling over so well, like plants growing and then shriveling. I'm almost picturing that with all of this. Like, this is a surreal, somewhat edgy music video. Maybe a little pretentious.
Yeah.
But I'm still not quite sure what the point is, but I'm along for the ride. Far. Yeah. It was night. The rain fell. And falling, it was rain. But having fallen, it was blood. I stood in the morass among the tall lilies, and the rain fell upon my head. And the lilies sighed one unto the other in the solemnity of their desolation. This demon's just tripping, man.
Yeah. Pat, 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 pat.
I get it, but you can stop patting he just keeps talking, completely ignores.
And all at once, the moon arose through the thin ghastly mist, and was crimson in color. And mine eyes fell upon a huge grey rock, which stood by the shore of the river, and was litten by the light of the moon. And the rock was grey, and ghastly, and tall. And the rock was grey. And the rock was grey. And did you forget what you were saying? Shut up, Pat, pat, pat.
Pat, pat. What's that like gif of a little hand that they use in like Twitch streams where it's going like blah, 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 blah. I'm just picturing that, but a demon hand version.
Yeah. Upon its front were characters engraven in the stone, and I walked through the morass of water, lilies, until I came close unto the shore, that I might read the characters upon the stone. But I could not decipher the characters, and I was going back into the morass, when the moon shone with a fuller red, and I turned and looked again upon the rock and upon the characters, and the characters were desolation.
Desolation makes a good character. It's got good stats.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what it is I think that's working for me with this, though? This reads like something you would read in the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
so I'm thinking,
a little bit.
This reads like something you'd read. This is like something you'd find in one of the lore books, and clearly they're aping stuff like this from. And I like the esoteric nature of this.
I know we probably overuse this term. If there's a landing, it needs to stick. Otherwise, if this demon just stops patting this guy on the head and goes, anyway, how about all that cool stuff I just described?
I'm waiting. And I looked upwards, and there stood a man upon the summit of the rock. And I hid myself among the water lilies, that I might discover the actions of the man. And the man was tall and stately in form, and was wrapped up from his shoulders to his feet in the toga of old Rome. And the outlines of his figure were indistinct, but his features were the features of a deity. For the mantle of the night, and of the mist, and of the moon, and of the dew, had left uncovered the features of his face. And his brow was lofty with thought, and his eye wild with care. And, in the few furrows upon his cheek, I read the fables of sorrow, and weariness, and disgust with mankind, and a longing after solitude. And the moon shone upon his face, and upon the features of his face. And oh, they were more beautiful than the airy dreams which hovered about the souls of the daughters of Delos. And in my head, I'm just going, Jesus?
Jesus?
Jesus! Now, I'm not familiar with the daughters of Delos, but according to this, the three daughters of King Aeneas of Delos, Oeno, wine, Spermo, wheat, and Elais, olive oil. Their grandfather was Dionysus, and he gave them, and he gave them powers to change water into wine, grass into wheat, and berries into olives. When the Greek fleet set out to make war in Troy, it was the daughters who stocked the ships. Agamemnon was so impressed with this that he kidnapped them. What an asshole. Dionysus saved them by turning them into white doves.
Huh.
Oh, that's why they hovered about, because they were doves. Anyway.
And the man sat down upon the rock and leaned his head upon his hand. My goodness, that's quite a loaf, but however shall it fit in my oven? Stead lifts her tail.
See, I like that you went there. My head went to the fucking Abadal by Morihaus, the winged bull of Kine, who, along with Pelinel Whitestrake, helped Saint Alessia slay the Iliad sorcerer kings and free the Empire of Men upon the land of Cirid.
I really think they should have. There should have been, like there is in Fallout. You should be able to do low intelligence builds in Elder Scrolls, and every book you pick up just looks like gibberish.
Have you ever seen there's one of the lore books is called Ngasta Kavaka Kavakis?
No.
It's great because there's a little forward that says this book was written in the language of the Slode, and it's just gibberish the entire book, and yet it's treated like it's completely serious. And the title is literally that. It's that's to me what it should be. Like that's the closest thing I can think of to what you're describing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, Bethesda.
Bethesda, as usual.
It's part of our multi-year plan for the show to become less and less and less and less about horror, until the whole time we're just talking about Elder Scrolls lore
and Fallout lore.
We'll have taken so long doing it that it'll feel like nothing changed.
This is going to turn into an Elder Scrolls lore podcast if we keep this up. And occasionally Fallout. That's right, Fudge Muppet. We're coming for your ass.
A Bethesda podcast that occasionally breaks out into some horror being written.
Well, if you want to talk horror, I've got this universe lore book, The Horror of Castle Zir, a play. Never mind.
And the man sat down upon the rock and leaned his head upon his hand and looked out upon the desolation. He looked down into the low, unquiet shrubbery. No python. And up into the tall primeval trees, and up higher at the rustling heaven, and into the crimson moon. And I lay close within a shelter of the lilies, and observed the actions of the man. And the man trembled in the solitude. But the night waned, and he sat upon the rock.
And the man in the back said, "Everyone attack," and it turned into a ballroom blitz. Whoa!
The loud silence.
Turns out this was all taking place in a library, so it was bad times. And the man turned his attention from the heaven, and looked out upon the dreary river Zaire, and upon the yellow ghastly waters, and upon the pale legions of the water lilies. And the man listened to the sighs of the water lilies, and of the murmur that came up from among them. And I lay close with my covert within my covert, and observed the actions of the man. And the man trembled in the solitude. But the night waned, and he sat upon the rock. Yeah, this is definitely weird esoteric fable territory. I'm still kind of liking this for that reason.
Yeah, I have a feeling of what the message is, but we'll keep going. Okay. Then I cursed the elements with the curse of tumult, and a frightful tempest gathered in the heaven, where before there had been no wind. And the heaven became livid with the violence of the tempest, and the rain beat upon the head of the man, and the floods of the river came down, and the river was tormented into foam, and the water lilies shrieked within their beds, and the bog down in the valley, oh ho ho, the
Rattling Bog. Wait, did we skip a line?
No, I'm still going.
Wait, no, hold on, because there was the night waned.
So I was confused because each of the paragraphs ended with "sat upon the rock."
Yeah, so there's a bit before that bit you just read.
Anyway, rewinding. Then I went down into the recesses of the morass and waited afar and among the wilderness of the lilies, and called into the Anytime I try to rush through one of these stories, someone there's a chili pepper in the candy dish. And called unto the hippopotami, which dwelt among the fens in the recesses of the morass. And the hippopotami heard my call, and came with the behemoth unto the foot of the rock, and roared loudly and fearfully beneath the moon. And I lay close within my covert, and observed the actions of the man. And the man trembled in the solitude. But the night waned, and he sat upon the rock.
It's the exact same as the last three.
Yeah. I fucked up because whenever I look at what I'm reading next, I look at the last words of the paragraph at whatever was just said. But all the last three paragraphs ended the same way.
Yeah, this is just, how many times is he just going to night wane and he's going to sit upon the rock? And also, why is our protagonist demon who's still aggressively patting the head of our narrator, technically, can summon hippopotami. That's dangerous.
Yeah, seems like it.
Dangerous. Yeah. So I'm going to do the bit that you just did.
What if there was a demon, like that was just their whole thing?
Hippopotami?
They could summon hippos.
I mean, that'd be pretty fucking scary, let's be honest. I'm serious when I say you do not fuck with hippopotami.
I'm well aware.
Yeah. But that would be both hilarious and frightening. What are you? I'm the demon of hippos. Yeah, right. What does that mean? Oh, I'll show you. Summons a hippo. Jorge, go get him. What? Mauled by hippo.
I saw a hippo at the zoo once, and it blasted piss like it was a shotgun blast. And all I could think of watching that is, like, if anyone had been in the way of that, they'd be dead. It was that forceful.
I mean, I've never seen that happen, but I can picture it.
Might have been a rhino, but I think it was a hippo.
Well, was it in water? Was it
water?
I
was very young.
Oh,
but
but
yeah, no. And anything whose piss stream is that dangerous should not be fucked with.
I concur, and this is why I'm still mad that baby hippo ate the wrong cake.
Yeah. Fuck that little bastard. Anyway.
Then I cursed the elements with the curse of tumult, and a frightful tempest gathered in the heavens, where before there had been no wind. And the heaven became livid with the violence of the tempest, and the rain beat upon the head of the man, and the floods of the river came down, and the river was tormented into foam, and the water lilies shrieked within their beds, and the forest crumbled before the wind, and the thunder rolled, and the lightning fell, and the rock rocked to its foundation. And I lay close within my covert and observed the actions of the man. And the man trembled in the solitude, even with all these like hippos and shit screaming around him. But the night waned, and he sat upon the rock. This guy cannot be disturbed.
Yeah.
Damn.
And if we're going with what this guy's powers are, it's currently raining hippopotamuses, which is pretty terrifying.
Yeah, almost as terrifying as that side quest where you make it rain burning dogs on that village for Shea Gorath in the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Or Oblivion.
Almost as terrifying as going to Central Park and having dogs thrown at you by
a long, gangly birdman?
A long, gangly birdman screaming, "Growl, let's go!"
Hey, by the way, I'm going to do a mid-podcast plug, but just in case anybody's interested in following our YouTube channel or is listening to these on our YouTube channel, I just put all the Dr. Satan stories in one playlist. So you can just go listen to them all there if you want. Yeah.
This is a dumb show.
It's a very dumb show, and I'm proud of it, even so.
You're a coward if you edit that out.
It's not my job. That's Future Maureen.
I know. I was talking to her.
Oh, okay.
I know she's listening.
She's always listening. She's always listening.
And she's a coward if she edits that out.
Okay.
Yeah, calling you out, Future Maureen.
Future Maureen is going to edit everything else out except that. No.
Yeah.
Just to spite you.
Then I grew angry and cursed with the curse of silence. The river and the lilies and the wind and the forest and the heaven and the thunder and the sighs of the water lilies. There's a hole. There's a hole. There's a
There's
hole.
on the bottom of the sea.
That and Rattling Bog.
We got a couple of them out of there.
And they became accursed and were still. And the moon ceased to totter in its pathway up the heaven. And the thunder died away. And the lightning did not flash. And the clouds hung motionless. And the waters sunk to their level and remained. And the trees ceased to rock. And the water lilies sighed no more. And the murmur was heard no longer from among them, nor any shadow of sound throughout the vast, illimitable desert. And I looked upon the characters of the rock, and they were changed, and the characters were silence.
And the people stood and prayed to the neon god they'd made. They're onto something.
And orangutans, and fruit bats, and God damn it, I did Python again.
Hey, that's twofer. We don't usually we don't usually drop a bunch of Python. Well, no.
One of mine and Abysme's favorite YouTubers is Civi11, and he covers boomer shooters, but under the premise that he is imprisoned and being forced to make YouTube content in this futuristic robot prison.
Oh, so that's actually kind of a neat conceit and very misty.
Whenever he mentions Monty Python, you hear one of the robot voices go, "No Python," and then you get him hear him getting violently electrocuted.
I'm gonna throw a third one in.
If anyone out there watches Civi11 and the whole end credits where they have all the Patreon members, you can see mine and Abysme's names on screen briefly in the same section.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
nice. It's always good to see. You know, I appreciate that a lot of these people who do this will just be like, and here's everybody who contributed. Boy, that sure would be nice if nice thing to do. Every so often. And mine eyes fell upon the countenance of the man, and his countenance was wan with terror. And hurriedly he raised his head from his hand, and stood forth upon the rock, and listened. There was no voice throughout the vast, illimitable desert. And the characters upon the rock were silence. And the man shuddered, and turned his face away, and fled afar off, and I beheld him no more. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That happened.
Okay, I guess let's bring it home.
Okay, Edgar. There's actually a little page break right here.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are fine tales in the volumes of the Magi, in the iron-bound melancholy volumes of the Magi. Therein, I say, are glorious histories of the heaven and of the earth and of the mighty sea and of the genii.
Genii.
It's just the plural for genie.
So genie is not genies for multiple genies. It's genii.
Well, he used hippopotami earlier.
That's fair.
And of the genii that overruled the sea and the earth and the lofty heaven. There was much lore, too, in the sayings which were said by the Sibyls. And holy, holy things were heard of old by the dim leaves that trembled around Dodona. But, as Allah liveth, that fable which the demon told me as he sat by my side in the shadow of the tomb, I hold to be the most wonderful of all. I'm not sold.
No.
And as the demon made an end of his story, he fell back within the cavity of the tomb and laughed. And I could not laugh with the demon, and he cursed me because I could not laugh. And the lynx which dwelleth forever in the tomb came out therefrom, and lay down at the feet of the demon, and looked at him steadily in the face.
What?
Hey, Edgar, what the fuck just happened? And then a cat came out and stared at it.
Kajita's wares if you have coins, said the lynx. Oh my gosh. Okay. Not gonna lie, I still like this one. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I still like it. I'm sure we could look up people's analysis of this, but this is undercooked analysis, and therefore ours is what matters, and I don't know what happened, but I liked it.
Like, to some, silence is peaceful, but to others, silence, like, is terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Maybe?
Why is there a cat?
That's probably why the demon was pat. You know what? The demon was patting the narrator's head the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And then the lynx that he normally pets came up and stared at him like, "What the fuck, dude? You're gonna pat someone, giving someone else head pats now?" It's literally jealous of the narrator.
So,
Ugh.
hey Google, what the fuck was any of that?
Find out yourselves by research, my dear listeners. In the meantime, I am looking at this and I'm just going, yeah, this feels like something I want to look into when I'm not as tired. I'm tired.
Yeah, we were both probably too tired for this.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
This Fable.
I know you like it. I'm going to be the dissenting opinion here.
No.
About it not sticking the landing.
It did not stick the landing. I'll give you that. I absolutely agree. It did not stick the landing because I still don't grasp any of it. Why was our narrator talking to this demon in a tomb and there was a cat that dwelleth forever in the tomb? I don't know. This probably does belong in the F tier.
I'm going to say it belongs. I'm going to say wholeheartedly that it belongs in the F tier.
Do you think it's the worst one of the 3 we've read?
I think it might be.
Okay.
I think I genuinely enjoy Imp of the Perverse.
Mm-hmm.
I like how King Pest started. I like some of King Pest.
King Pest I still think was the most fun one we read, in my opinion. Imp of the Perverse was a competent story and had some enjoyable bits. And I really did turn around when Poe was basically made the whole essay thing and then made it about the abhorrence to essays and then being about murdering someone with a poison candle and then intrusive thoughts and self-destructive tendencies ruining the narrator's life. So there's that. This is trying to sound mythical.
King Pest, just imagine a narrative where, like, the narrative took its time to introduce these, like, really, really weird and creative characters. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I can't wait to see what all these really weird and creative characters do. And then in the end, everyone shits their pants and the room they're in explodes.
Yeah, the ending also didn't stick.
Silence, it's... can't believe I'm about to say this about Edgar Allan Poe. This is masturbatory.
It's not like he cares. He's dead.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck dead ass Edgar Allan Poe and his dead ass.
He's pretty fucking dead. So I'm going to give this story a bunch of sighing water lilies out of a bunch of screaming hippopotami.
I'm going to give this story one silent, unimpressed cat out of a possible screaming flower.
Like that.
Yeah.
And I'll add the addendum that it gets extra credit for a lot of demon head pats.
This short story is what people who don't like A24 movies think A24 movies are.
That's a pretty apt description. I don't know. Yeah, I'm still of the opinion that maybe I look at it later, I'll just be frustrated. But I'm kind of leaning into the ambiguity of it for a bit, just kind of like the head scratchiness of it. It is kind of masturbatory, actually.
Again, maybe I'm not in the right mindset. We're both pretty tired.
Yeah, and to be fair, we usually try to bring as good as selves as we can to this podcast, but we only have a small window right now where we can record. Luckily, we were able to make it work, but it was also at the cost of coming off of 2 very exhausting days for each of us respectively. That's how that is going. Thank you for sharing this. We got 2 more left in our new, still ongoing Poe Standards. This means we now get an extra episode of Poe Standards.
Yay.
That's nice. And then at the end, we'll have to pick the best of the... Wait, no, I can't say that. That's another show. We'll pick the one we enjoyed the most. And yeah, King Pest still counts, even though it's now apparently in D tier.
Yeah. No, we reread it, so...
So if you like what you heard here and you want to hear episodes where you're less tired, you can check out this show on creativehorror.com, on YouTube, and on your favorite podcast apps. I'm not sure where you're listening to this right now, but if you can hear my voice, then that means you have downloaded or pulled up the show or streaming it in some way. And thank you for that. Thank you for spending some time with us. I genuinely appreciate it. I want to say big thanks to our patrons for supporting the show. Patreon.com/creativehorror is where you can find it. If you would like to be a patron, it does support the entire network, not just this podcast, but all the other shows. There will be more shows. There are more shows. There are archives of shows. Shows. It's becoming a much more redundant word to me the more I say it. I feel like I'm in a trance.
Shows.
Wonder Chosen. Wait, that's something else.
Hippopotami.
Ah!
Good evening, intrepid listeners. This is the Pasta Shade, the host of Midnight Marinera, and this podcast is part of creativehorror.com, a network of podcasts and creators working together to build a constructive community of horror fans. For more content like this, visit us at creativehorror.com.